Cowboys. So we'll look straight to the Seagulls. First things first. The Seagulls welcome back Kieran Foran. That is a massive change to their lineup. Ben Trbojevic is in the lineup as well for the Seagulls. Paseka starting at prop with Tapau, Lawton and Olaka'atu make up your second row. And of course the inclusion of Dylan Walker as well coming back for the Seagulls. Big changes for the Seagulls there. We'll look to the Cowboys as well. Holmes at fullback, Felt and Tulagi are on your wings, but the big change, of course, is that number 7 shirt. Tom Dearden coming in for the Cowboys to make his debut, and as well as them welcoming back Jason Taumalolo as well. So some big bolstering for the Cowboys ahead of a really tricky game against the Seagulls.
It's a very tricky game for the Cowboys in general, but it is a very tricky game to predict. I do not personally think that Tom Trbojevic will be rushed back into this Manly side 48 hours after playing Origin. He has to deal with flights back, trying to somehow recover from what's going to be a grueling contest in not 22 hours time from the time that we go live. And we've seen from earlier in the season, this is a Manly side that without Tom Trbojevic is on par with the Bulldogs. It is a brutal team to watch. The inclusion of Kieran Foran does help. It brings some structure back. If Trbojevic doesn't play, I would expect that Ruben Garrick would fall back into the one position and someone like a Christian Tuipulotu, I'm sorry if I butchered that, or a Georgie Tafua, they would come onto the wing. You've got Dylan Walker back. You've got Ben Trbojevic, who keeps his spot on the bench. It's a hard one. It's a really hard one to pick. Same for the Cowboys. Does Holmes back up 48 hours after? Does someone, Ken Taumalolo give the same impact that we expect after a first game back? He's been on and off more often than not this year. Yes, the Cowboys have played well without him. I believe they're 3-3, as we were so aptly made aware of by one of the comments a couple of weeks ago. But again, Holmes he's a pretty big player for this side. He's been the backbone for a bit of a revitalization for the Cowboys. Can Tom Dearden steer the side around? I don't know. I don't know where to go on this one, mate. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm struggling for a tip.
Yeah, it's, as you said, it's a tricky one. I hate unfamiliar halves pairings, especially so young as well. Drinkwater and Dearden, two players that are now at the Cowboys because they weren't able to hold down a spot at their respective clubs at the time. As for the Seagulls, I echo your thoughts. I don't think they'll rush Trbojevic back. I think potentially you see maybe Dylan Walker drop to fullback and somebody else come from the reserves. Just because we've seen Walker run out at fullback before. He held the job, did a decent job there. So I'm going to say Seagulls 1-12 on this one. I just think that the fact that you're probably going to be missing Holmes, maybe Tabuai Fido drops to fullback for the Cowboys there. And then at which point then your spine is probably has an average age of about 22 at that point and less than 50 NRL games between them. It's just so tricky to work out which way this one's going to go. But I just think the inexperience in that Cowboys spine is really going to hamper them, especially coming up against the Eagles side that has hit a fine vein of form. Yes, mostly at the hands of Tom Trbojevic, but I think that the quality is still there. I'm going to go Seagulls 1-12. If you had to push me for an anytime try scorer, Jason Saab, can't look past him. You get him on the outside of absolutely anybody, you bang to rights. So that's where I go on that one.
It's a tough one. It is a stupid tough game. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. It might not be the most fluent game of football that we see this round, but it's going to be an interesting one to watch. And this is, mind you, if I can skirt our attention to the ladder, this is a Cowboys side that aren't that, or both sides really, aren't that far away from being in the top 8. This ladder has condensed a hell of a lot in the last month or so. I'm going to make it interesting right off the bat. I'm going to say Cowboys 1-12, and I'm basing it on the premise that Tom Trbojevic doesn't play. If Trbojevic plays, you would probably say that the Eagles are your favourites, and based on Sportsbet right now, they are at $1.37. The Cowboys at 3.10 are great value at the moment if Tom Trbojevic doesn't play, and I don't expect him to play. Anytime try scorer. With no Tom Trbojevic, that means Garrett goes to the wing. Yes, that means probably George Tafua comes in and he's a great closing defender. And he's good for a hit or two, but he's also good for a miss or two. So you could go with anyone like a Felt, Murray Talangi, $2.10. I don't see that as being unders. If anything, it's probably slightly overs. He's in a rich vein of try-scoring form. If Holmes does play, he's at $2.50. He's a good shout. If you're looking at Manly currently with any sort of value, Carl Lawton at $4.50. He's been very good in the first couple of weeks for Manly. He's a shout. Value on the Cowboy side. I mean, Reece Robson's paying $6. He is very, very good out of dummy half. There's plenty of options, but I'm going Cowboys 1-12.